Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a really important topic, and that is the #1 way to lose your bird's trust. And I'm going to be talking about forced interactions, because forced interactions are the main ways that people lose their bird's trust, and it causes all kinds of issues and behavioural problems, and also issues for the owners as well. So I thought it was really important to talk about. As you know, with me, I will go into it in detail. I'll also be talking about alternative ways that I think are better. Now, when I talk about forced interactions, I'm talking about things like grabbing. Grabbing is #1 way of breaking trust with your bird and causing all sorts of issues with behaviour and trust in the future. When you grab your bird, you're taking away all their choice, you're forcing an interaction on them, you're making things and your hands very scary. And it's often one of the things that I find most stressful when it's encouraged by breeders. Some novice breeders grab their birds and they encourage their clients to grab their birds because it causes something called learned helplessness, which I'll talk about later. So grabbing is a no-no, and it really will cause problems with your parrot. Backing your bird into a corner is another forced interaction. If you're backing your bird into a corner to create an environment where they have no choice but to interact with you, that makes things really difficult for them. You're basically giving them no choice. They're either going to fight, they're going to fly, or they're just going to go helpless because they don't know what else to do. So that breaks trust and causes so many problems for a lot of owners as well. It's important not to back your birds into a corner unless it's an absolute emergency, because it's just not worth doing, really. Now, this is one of those old school ways of thinking, and that is pressing your hand into your parrot's chest to cause them to step up. You may have seen there with Pickles, I didn't even have to sort of like really move my hand. She just wants to understand. I don't really have to move my hand into her to get her to step up. She just stepped up because she wants to, and she's been trained to with me. If you're having to press your hand into your parrot to get them to step up, you're forcing interaction, and in the future that could cause you all sorts of issues. Hello, Scrampy. You want your parrot to want to step up, you want them to be motivated to step up, and that is the easiest way of doing it, through positive reinforcement, not through pressing your hand into their chest. It's an old school way of training. It may have had a place a long time ago, but it certainly does not now, with loads of other better alternatives. Which leads on to the last thing: general respect of your parrot's boundaries and consideration of them being a parrot. If you just don't have any respect for them, and you don't respect that they have their own personal space and they want to do their own thing, it's like Scampy wants to go understand, so let them do that, then you're going to run into problems in the future. It's a forced interaction if you're forcing them to do something they don't want to do. So it's just really important to bear in mind there. Now, you may think, oh, well, it's not so bad, you know, grab the bird once, what's the problem? You know, I have to do this to do that. And what problems it cause? Well, the major problem is breaking trust, which you may have heard me mention a bit earlier. If you break your bird's trust with you, you are becoming a symbol of fear. You're not becoming a symbol of something positive. You are something they want to avoid and not interact with, and they may even become aggressive towards you. You are just something they don't want to be around, and hands often are the things that become the focus of fear with birds, because they are the grabbing and the touching without consent for the birds, so they just don't want to be around them. And there are studies and tests that people are starting to do now to find out if birds actually link hands with the head. It's quite interesting seeing the initial results, because a lot are showing that they perceive this part of your body as completely something different to this. So it's quite interesting to see how hands become a symbol of fear, and it's very common in our consultations when we talk to people that hands are an issue, whereas maybe the top of the body is not. So it's really important to not cause breaks of trust, because it's easily avoidable if you just do things right. I know it can be stressful getting a parrot back in a cage, or you know, you want them to interact, you want them to step up, so you turn to these videos and they say, you know, just you know, get them in a corner, they'll come to you and just press your hand into their chest, they'll be fine. Problem. It leads on to the next point. Something called learned helplessness. This is probably the most depressing thing I see in any animal, because it's not just parrots that suffer from this. And that is where your animal, your parrot, feels so helpless, so stressed, they just shut down. They let you do whatever they want. And that's where the whole breeder advice just falls through. And not so, just to say, not all breeders say this, only a minority say it, where you should just grab them and that's what you should do to start with. All you're teaching them to do is either fear your hand or just be completely so terrified of it they just let you do what you want. And that is so sad, you know, when your parrot's at that point, you've really pushed them too far, and you could have real serious behaviour issues in the future. So it's much better to just avoid it, because all of these problems, breaks in trust, learned helplessness, can cause behaviour issues such as biting, plucking, stress behaviours, you know, stereotyping, all those things you do not want to see, and more importantly, a lack of desire to want to be around you. Because obviously when you have your feathered friend, you want them to have fun with you and to enjoy their life with you and have all those lovely interactions you see everywhere. So it's just so important to avoid all this, and I'm going to talk about now how you can avoid it. So instead of using these techniques, I know a lot of you watching this video probably don't, but some of you may have had bad advice, so it'll be hopefully correcting a bit of that. You want to use positive reinforcement. That's just adding something into the environment that increases the chances of something you want happening. For example, you want to step up, you add a treat into the equation. Treats are the #1 form of positive reinforcement for almost all parrots. If they're motivated to work for their treats, then you're going to have a lot more success. I often recommend it with initial bonding, a bit of passive bonding, relaxing, and then treating through the bars. So they start linking you with really positive, happy things. Exactly, Pickles. It's like Pickles links me with positive, happy things. She gets treats from me, she gets cuddles from me, so she wants to be around me. That is the best way. And if your bird isn't motivated by treats, you've got to look at the reasons why. Is it you haven't spent enough time with them? Is it their diet? Is it not ideal? Is it you've not found the best treat yet? The next bit of advice is take your time. Take time with training, take time with bonding, take time with all of that. The more time and patience you show, the better results you'll have. If you respect their boundaries also, that's going to help miles, you know. I talk about passive interaction as the #1 initial step when bonding with a parrot, because through passive interaction, you're basically, sorry, I better explain what that means. Passive interaction, passive bonding basically means they're in their cage or just out and about and you're just doing your own thing. You're ignoring them, letting them do their own thing and come to you voluntarily. It's so important because it lets your parrot know that you're not going to force anything on them. It lets them know that they can just go about their own business and you're just going to be there and respect them and just do your own thing. And that is so important. A lot of people sort of undervalue just how important that is. And taking your time, respecting their boundaries and doing that can set you up for major success in the future. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope it may be, if you have been given some bad advice in the past, maybe corrected a little bit of that. If you have any comments or any other advice you want to give, please feel free to drop them down in the comments. But from me, Scampy, and Pickles, who's currently sat on my hood, take care and have a really nice day.